good news, Shane, finally, for frontline workers, with the government awarding them all a €1,000 pandemic payment bonus. But has the net, do you think, been cast wide enough?
Look, you're never going to please everybody, and there has to be a point. You have to draw the line somewhere, and we are talking about in excess of €100 million being given out. Now, I think it's quite justified that this is happening, and I think the frontline workers, the frontline health workers, deserve it. But as I say, a line has to be drawn somewhere, and there will inevitably be a few hard luck calls. That said, I think some of the demands for inclusion from opposition politicians, from the unions, I think are ridiculous. And, you almost get the point. I think you're at the point to keep some politicians happy. Nothing short of Michael McGrath getting on top of Liberty Hall with a lorry load of suitcases and Brewster's Millions style throwing it off the top of Liberty Hall for everyone down below. I think nothing short of that would satisfy it. And it's crazy, Ciara, and it goes back to something I'm always talking about, the fantasy, the magic money tree that I think many people feel that we have in this country, where you can just draw from a bottomless pit. You know what? I have huge respect. Do you remember a couple of months ago, the teachers' unions came out and demanded to be included in this, and loads of teachers said, not in my name, do not include us, do not compare us to what the frontline health workers were doing. And I had such respect for those teachers who did that, and the unions were put back in their box pretty quickly. And I think it would be nice if that happened a bit more often.
I like that image. I have an image now of Michael McGrath with kind of a leaf blower, and he's spraying us with money, which of course some people might still not be happy. Look, I don't think it's just the money tree aspect of this that bothers me, or that I think is probably means it can't happen. I think there's a slightly unedifying thing, seeing people jostling for money over this. But what strikes me is no one actually grateful for what the frontline workers does? Does no one actually remember 2020? Because back then there was second to nursing home residents, healthcare workers were the single biggest group who died in the pandemic as a group. They were the single biggest group after nursing homes. And they worked, let's remember, in this country before we even had proper PPE, before we had vaccines. And they were treating COVID patients at a time when we were getting a mortality rate quoted of 5 to 6% coming out of Wuhan.
Genuinely frightening.
Yeah, it was absolutely frightening. And there was fear in all of that. And when everyone else was kind of running away from it, they were stepping into the fire. And I know, and I absolutely do agree that postal workers and bus drivers and Tesco workers kept the lights on and did great work.
Yeah, definitely.
But does anyone else remember what those healthcare workers did? And I think the idea that there should be one for everyone in the audience, to be honest, I think it devalues it.